Welcome to Bloodstained Backstories, the podcast where we dig deep into the chilling realities of true crime, one story at a time. I'm Summer.
And I'm Jace. Today we're diving into a story that shook Long Island and the nation. Joel Rifkin, one of America's most notorious serial killers.
Between 1989 and 1993, Rifkin claimed the lives of at least 17 women. But before the headlines, before the arrest, who was Joel Rifkin and what drove him to commit such heinous acts?
We'll explore his childhood, his psychology, his crimes, the investigation, the trial, and of course, the victims, because their stories deserve to be remembered. In this episode, listener discretion is advised.
Picture East Meadow, Long Island in the early 90s. Quiet suburban streets, kids playing outside, and a neighbor who was hiding a terrifying secret. He was born February 14, 1959, to young college students. His biological father was an Army veteran. At 3 weeks old, he was adopted by a couple living on Long Island. He grew up in East Meadow, attending East Meadow High School.
He struggled academically due to undiagnosed dyslexia, but he had a 120 IQ. Unfortunately, his parents were critical and his classmates bullied him. He was socially isolated, spending most of his time alone, developing violent sexual fantasies. I heard you actually knew him, Summer.
Yes, I did. He was my friend. He was quiet, kept to himself, but friendly. I remember walking down the school hallway waiting for our standard friend hug. And he was always nice. Later, seeing him in the news, it was just devastating. I could not believe it.
It's terrifying to know how someone so seemingly normal could hide such a darkness.
Exactly. In high school, he was nicknamed Turtle because of his posture and gait. Tried joining the track team, but was tormented. His parents had bought him a new camera for Christmas, but his camera was stolen and he was excluded from the wrap party of the school yearbook at the end of the year. Being excluded from the party really had an effect on Joel. He graduated from East Meadow High School in 1977, then attended classes at Nassau Community College and a few other colleges, but left before earning a degree. Joel became self-employed as a landscaper.
Joel's first victim was Heidi Balch. On February 20th, 1989, Joel killed her in his home with an artillery shell purchased for under $1. He dismembered her, removing her teeth and fingerprints in an attempt to try to delay who she is and prevent her from being identified. Her head was found on a golf course in New Jersey, her legs in Powanock Creek, and her torso in East River. It wasn't until 2013 that she would be identified.
Julie Blackbird in 1990. He spent the night with her, then killed her with a table leg, strangled her, and dismembered her. He cemented her remains in buckets and dumped them in the East River and Brooklyn Canal. Remains were never recovered.
Barbara Jacobs, 31, was killed on July 14, 1991. Her body in a plastic bag, stuffed in a cardboard box, and dumped in the Hudson River.
Mary Ellen DeLuca, 22, killed after she complained about sex with Joel. Her remains found October 1st, 1991, in Cornwall, New York.
Then we have Yun Lee, who was 31 years old and strangled on September 23, 1991. She was thrown into the East River.
Okay, then we have a Jane Doe, or otherwise known as victim number 6. Joel strangled her to death during sex. He placed her body into a 55-gallon drum and dumped it into the East River. Her body has never been found, nor does anyone have any idea who she is. Joel gave very specific details on putting her body in a steel drum and rolling it down cement into the river. He gave a very good description of the area with a map that he drew. Investigators have checked the area out and even used sonar to scan the bottom of the river and divers. Still nothing has been found. The ones that were found in steel containers, the containers were floating. So this one may have been missed. The cold case team has done interviews with Joel, and he gave a very good description as to where he disposed of the drum containing number 6 body. He even drew the map. The team went up in a helicopter and found an area that seemed to match where Joel described. They went out with divers and boats with sonic radar and were not able to find anything. Joel has described an earring that he saved from number 6. He insists it is a single earring, clear plastic, fake quartz crystal hooks, looks like sugar crystals or rock candy. The cold case team went through the box of items collected from Joel's home when he was arrested and were able to find a single earring that sort of matched the description, but they were also able to find a pair of earrings that matched even closer to the descriptions, but Joel insisted that it was just a single earring. The earrings were tested for DNA, and there was none that could be found on the single earring, but on the pair of earrings, some was found. Out of 24 points of DNA that could have been found, only 8 points were found. Now they are trying to match that with the DNA of someone.
Cold case teams are still searching for her identity today, and it is remarkable that their dedication and their attempt to uncover the mystery even decades later.
Lorraine Oviedo, 28, found July 11, 1992, in Coney Island Creek. Mary Ann Holloman, 39, also in Coney Island Creek, floating in a 55-gallon drum.
Victim number 9, the second woman to go unidentified, who was from the best that could be determined, was killed sometime during 1991 and is referred to as number 9. Only portions of her remains were found on May 13, 1992, in a 55-gallon steel drum floating in Newtown Creek in Brooklyn. Joel described the bracelet that he said was number 9's as wearing a snake bracelet. Very unique in looks, but no DNA has been able to be retrieved from the bracelet. They are hoping, since the bracelet is so unique, that even after all these years somebody will recognize it. Number 9's remains, since there was no identity associated with them, were buried in a mass grave. Unfortunately, due to the amount of time that she has been buried and the elements, the pine box that she was in, the people of the mass graves that were buried have rotted, and the pieces of the wood mixed within the body parts, and they are all mixed up. They have not given up on identifying her though, and they will continue their efforts. Kudos to the New York State Police for not giving up on these two women. The search continues as science improves, and I have no doubt that one day they will have the identity of these two victims.
Ana Lopez, 33, found May 25, 1992, in Putnam County. Iris Sanchez, 25, killed on Mother's Day weekend, 1992, placed in a mattress near JFK Airport.
Violet O'Neill was 21, and her remains were discovered over 3 days in the Harlem River, East River, and near Governor's Island. She was a mother and was last seen on July 16, 1992.
Mary Catherine Williams, 31, found December 21, 1992, in Yorktown, identified July 6, 1993. Her credit cards were found among Joe's belongings.
Jenny Soto was 23 and found on November 17, 1992, on the shores of Harlem River. She fought Joel, and her fake nails were ripped off, and skin was found underneath her nails.
Leah Evans, 28, also a mother of 2, discovered May 1992 in Southampton. Lauren Marquise, 28, another mother of 2, found June 29, 1993, in the Long Island Central Pine Barrens.
Tiffany Brashani was 23 and picked up June 24, 1993, in Manhattan. Her boyfriend, a punk musician, David Rubenstein, reported her missing. Tiffany's disappearance is what ultimately led to Joel's arrest. Tragically, Dave would commit suicide 2 weeks later. It is actually amazing that Joel did not get caught dumping in these girls' bodies, especially the ones in the large containers. New York is known as the city that never sleeps, and there are always people up and about.
On June 28, 1993, at 3:15 a.m., state troopers patrolling Long Island Southern State Parkway noticed a 1984 Mazda B2000 pickup truck without a license plate. Trying to get the driver to pull over, he failed to stop and led police on a 20 to 25-minute chase, ending after he lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a light pole. The driver was identified as Joel Rifkin. As the troopers approached the vehicle, the smell of death was very strong. After searching the vehicle, the troopers found the body of Tiffany Brashani wrapped in a tarp on the floor of the pickup truck. Once taken into custody, Rifkin remained unemotional. On June 28, 1993, at 3:15 a.m., state troopers patrolling Long Island Southern State Parkway noticed a 1984 Mazda B2000 pickup truck without a license plate. Trying to get the driver to pull over, he failed to stop and led police on a 20 to 25-minute chase, ending after he lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a light pole. The driver was identified as Joel David Rifkin. As the troopers approached the vehicle, the smell of death was very strong.
Tiffany Brashini was 23 and picked up on June 24, 1993 in Manhattan. Her boyfriend, punk musician David Rubenstein, reported her missing. Tiffany's disappearance is what ultimately led to Joel's arrest. On June 28, 1993, at 3:15 a.m., state troopers patrolling Long Island's Southern State Parkway noticed a 1984 Mazda B2000 pickup truck without a license plate. Trying to get the driver to pull over, he failed to stop and led police on a 20 to 25-minute police chase, ending after he lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a light pole. The driver would be Joel Rifkin. As troopers approached the vehicle, the smell of death was very strong. Upon searching the vehicle, the troopers found the body of Tiffany Brashini wrapped in a tarp on the floor of the pickup truck. Once taken into custody, he was unemotional. He was led back to the troop barracks in Flemingdale, where he was questioned by state investigators for over 6 hours. Joel would confess to a shocking list of murders. "I killed 17, he would admit. 15 bodies have been found or identified, and 2 are still remaining. 1 they have no identity on, and they have never found her body," which is number 6. For number 9, they don't know who she is. It's amazing that Joel never got caught dumping any of these girls' bodies into the rivers, especially the ones that were in the large containers. New York is known as the city that never sleeps, and it is true that there are always people up and about, and the fact he was never seen dumping any bodies is truly amazing.
Joel's mother and sister showed up for Joel during the trial. They visited him twice a week and phoned him while he was awaiting his conviction. While he was being sentenced, his mother and sister were teary-eyed as they watched him apologize to the victims' families. After the trial, the 2 women disappeared from the public view. In 1995, it was reported that Joel's mother was auctioning off a recorded jailhouse interview to help pay the extensive legal bills.
Police officials decided in 1996 that Joel was so notorious that his presence in the general prison population could be disruptive. He was confined to a cell at the Attica Correctional Facility for 23 hours a day. He spent more than 4 years in solitary confinement and was later transferred to Clinton Correctional Facility in Clinton County, New York.
It is unthinkable, and the investigation continues on the 2 identified women. Advances in DNA may one day bring closure. Joel Rifkin's story is horrifying, but remembering the victims and learning from these cases matters. That's it for tonight on Bloodstained Backstories. Please follow, subscribe, like, and share. And remember, sometimes truth is darker than fiction.